Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our first impressions of the new Suicide Silence album titled Become the Hunter. So, new Suicide Silence. It's interesting, like, after the era of Mitch Lucker, rest in peace, how this band has changed a lot. Because they had one album which was kind of in You Can't Stop Me, and then they had their self-titled album which was a completely different genre. But I have high hopes for this album. We've reacted to this album a few times, to a few singles.
Videos, yep.
One of them was Two Steps, the other one was Feel Alive. I recall, was it Two Steps, the super duper good one?
I personally like Feel Alive better, but most of the fans seem to like Two Steps better. I like Two Steps as well, but most of the people seem to really gravitate towards Two Steps.
Yeah, Feel Alive was interesting because it kind of put a little bit of a different spin on things for this band.
Because it kind of school feel.
Yeah, an old school, more so death metal kind of feel.
Yeah.
With
whereas Two Steps was more old school Suicide Silence feel.
Exactly.
It sounds like a Mitch Lucker era Suicide Silence.
Yeah. So I am super duper hyped for this album because it does, from what I've heard so far, it has a lot of promise.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So with that being said, we're going to listen to Become the Hunter for the very first time in its entirety, and we'll be right back to give you guys our first impressions. Alright guys, we just listened to Become the Hunter for the very first time in its entirety, and I'm just going to take the floor and say that this album is actually pretty damn good. It didn't really explode my mind at all. Like, I found the songs were getting similar ratings of a range from 6 through 8, but overall this was still a good album, and I think a lot of it comes from how this album, to me, just based on hearing it once, feels like a mix of all of the Mitch Lucker era Suicide Silence albums.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
You get super wild stuff from The Cleansing and No Time to Bleed, a lot of kind of chugs you hear from No Time to Bleed. You get a lot of the new metal elements from The Black Crown, like all of that stuff put together, and I think the bow on top of this present is Eddie Hermida's vocals, because they are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, his screams specifically are crazy. They just, they are so high-pitched, they're so powerful, and I think it all comes to a head on track number 7 called Skin Tight, where not only is he doing these awesome screams, but you can hear, I think you said it best when we were listening to it, anguish. There's anguish in his voice. You can hear pain in the screams, and you don't hear it like that on any other song in the album, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, speaking of that song, Skin Tight, I did mention the anguish style, and it was mainly due to the vocals, but the whole song had a more anguish sound to it. It was much more eerie. It was just had a slower rhythm. The band just sounds super tight, and then there's one part, it's kind of like the bridge, where it just gets super brutal at one point, and then it goes back to this anguished, eerie stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think it's on a first impression, the album is solid, but it didn't quite blow me away. Mm-hmm. There are a few songs that I really, really, really liked. Like Feel Alive was my top song. That song just gets me pumped. Don't know what it is, but it's so nasty sounding. I just love the flow and the rhythm of that song. It's really, really cool.
After hearing it again, like, I know last time when we heard it, for the music video, we felt that it had a lot of death metal-esque things in it. And I still noticed that with how Eddie's growl sounded, but I kind of found the chugging was on the more hardcore side kind of vibe. So I found a little bit of a hybrid there.
Yeah, I got the vibes too. When you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, I can kind of hear that too. So yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from. One thing that's shown to me on this album is the guitar work. There's a lot of different styles and elements in the guitar work here. There's cool solos. You got a lot of cool effects. Different things happening, like that one song that had that sitar.
Oh yeah, that was Serene
kind of thing. Yeah, so that was the intro. It's like, it was all trippy, and we think it's a sitar, but it's got some sort of effect on it. It's either doubled up in post, or they have some sort of weird reverb effect on it or something like that. Pretty cool though. I don't know who does the leads or the rhythms more between Mark and Chris on this album, but if they're trading off, I think they have very similar styles. But if it's one guy does lead, one guy does rhythm, I'm not sure. But I found that the guitar work was impressing me a lot.
Yeah,
but it wasn't impressing me in a way where like there was no crazy solos where I was like, oh my god, that was amazing. But I don't know, it's just the usage of tones, the usage of effects. A lot of it's, I'm pretty sure most of it's like drop A, which is typical. And then a lot of it's like heavily distorted. But then you have a song, I wrote a note, I'm trying to look at my notes here. There was one song that didn't have any distortion. Which song was that? Oh, I think it's the Scythe. I just wrote that the guitar tone is clean. But I thought that was cool. It stood out. And it was something that, like, you know, it's a little subtle, but it stood out. But I don't know, man, the guitars and the vocals were definitely highlights, but I don't want to take anything away from Alex because he put some sick drum rolls in this. He does a lot of really cool beats. You know, his double bass is on point. I mean, he definitely carries a lot of the songs.
I found that he threw in a lot of really good fills here and there, and I feel like it's going to be a really good treat to listen back, like, throughout the week and hearing, oh, wow, that was a sick fill, or, oh, wow, he filled the space here really well. One thing I really loved about this album is how there's a lot of diversity within it.
Yeah.
Because it, you know, it's not like the whole album sounds like a song like, which one? Disaster Valley. Because Disaster Valley is pretty much super crazy, blast beats, whatever.
Yeah.
The whole album has tons of different stuff in it, which pretty much makes everything stand out, like, by default.
Yeah.
But a song like The Sight, like, I even noted there, really good guitar work. Like, I feel like, on a first impression, the vocals and guitar also stood out to me the most.
Yeah.
But the drums are still sick.
Yeah, for the most part, as far as the guitars go, you're gonna hear a lot of chugs, which I know a lot of people don't really like chugs because it's like kind of amateur level metal.
It's mean sounding.
It's mean sounding. That's what's important.
That's what's so sick about Feel Alive.
It gets your head going, get your head banged, get your body moving, and it just sounds brutal, which is what they're going for.
That was another thing I noted about Serena Scene is that the riff hits hard. It's sick, but the main riff was kind of simple.
Yeah.
Like, rhythmically, it wasn't like super duper complex or anything or whatever. It was, you know, not that fast, and it was pretty straightforward. And you don't need to be super technical, to be super fast, to have some kind of rhythm to be good. Like, that riff is sick, and it wasn't, you know, hard.
Exactly, and I'm saying, like, neither of us are guitar players, but I would say that even though sometimes these riffs might sound simple, there's probably a lot more technicality behind them a lot of the times, where you might see them perform it, and you might not even realize that they're doing something so crazy to pull off that sound that kind of just sounds simple, right? Who knows? But I know they're both good guitar players. They got chops, so.
Yeah, I would say if I were to pick best track, it would probably be either Skin Tight or Two Steps. They both kind of tied with the highest rated.
Yeah.
I already talked about Skin Tight. Two Steps is just sick. The way that it transitions back from the middle part is really cool how they came back. Just that song is still awesome after, you know, checking it out before.
Yeah.
I also want to mention the title track, which is the last track on the album, has a guest vocalist.
Yep.
It was Darius something. He's the singer
Darius Tehrani.
Tehrani. He's the singer for Spite. I've never heard of that band.
Me neither.
I'm not sure if I could really recall his vocals on it.
Yeah, I couldn't even pinpoint it.
We only heard it once, so, you know, it's hard to tell just from one single listen.
Yeah.
But that song probably has one of the best breakdowns on the album. That breakdown was really cool.
It was kind of like just ended off the song almost like
it just
put a cap on the album.
Yeah, the whole ending was pretty much that breakdown. The rest of the song didn't really feel like it stood out much, but that breakdown is pretty much what, like...
Yeah, that was the special point of that song.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll discover more as we listen to it throughout the week.
Exactly. We're going to be listening to this album constantly, nonstop throughout the entire week, and we'll be back next week to give you guys our final review of Begun the Hunter. Anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like the video if you liked it. Comment, tell us in the comments below if you thought this album was cool, if you thought it was not cool. We'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and check out our Spotify playlist in the description below. And I'm TV Fish.
And I'm by myself.
And we'll see you guys later.